Hi, welcome to my session at Women on Stage Global Virtual Conference 2023. And this is my first time to speak at this conference, so it is a pleasure and honor to be on virtual stage with you to share about the topic that I will be speaking about, which is to help you or to guide you in how you can jumpstart with cloud computing as IT professionals or developers. And before we start, let me share with you about this one. So, if you're familiar about what it is actually three and a half floppy disks that were popular in the 90s. Actually, at least during my time when I was studying computer science. So at that time, while I was studying computer science, I had to use this three and a half small disk with less memory in it in order to save my home projects, school projects, programming projects, and I had a lot of them, stuck of them, in order to save documents for my for the things I need for school. And also, when I was studying computer science, I had this old computer where it was very heavy, and it's, I believe, called a CDR computer. And actually, I didn't have my own computer when I studied computer science as a scholar. So I had to use my school money to be able to use the internet cafe for my homework and studies, and use, of course, those three and a half floppy drives to uh, to to deliver my homework to school while learning programming at that time, and this was in the 90s. So yeah, so my journey in tech and cloud computing actually started a lot spending time in internet cafes using my school money, doing programming both in the libraries at school and also in internet cafes. But then I actually uh, finished it. So, cloud computing, that's one of the topics that I'm passionate to share about today, even in this conference. And what we will learn today is we will learn about cloud computing, the basics of it, my journey, tech journey to cloud, because I believe it is important uh, for you to kind of like be inspired how I got into the journey of working with cloud. And you will also learn part of the cloud computing basics is that the public cloud providers that you have available today, and what alternatives or options do you have. And of course, since I'm working with one of the known public cloud providers or platforms, I will be focusing my examples of cloud providers with Microsoft Azure specifically, since that is the experience that I have technically in terms of the platforms. And then, of course, at the end of this session or talk, I will be sharing with you as well the things that you can do, or my advice to get started learning with cloud technologies, like the things that I mentioned. So, who am I? To those that haven't seen me before in this conference, my name is Jonah Andersson. I work as a senior Azure consultant at Solidify. It is a consulting company in Sweden and Nordics. And part of my job as a senior Azure consultant is to work with .NET development, DevOps, infrastructure management, and also I have a role of being DevOps engineer lead in the team that I'm working on in my project. And aside from that, being passionate in tech and other things that I do, I also founded my startup company called Jonah Andersson Tech, where I, on my free time, actually do some writing, like write or create technical content, such as my book that you see right now, Learning Microsoft Azure, with O'Reilly, published through O'Reilly, and also as a Microsoft certified technical trainer that teaches Azure in different setup and help other developers get started with their cloud development journey and improve their skills. And I also organize a user group called Azure User Group Sweden as a community leader and founder of it, and co-host a podcast called Extend Women in Tech podcast. And of course, you will see my other like awards and other like nominations there. And I'm also a Microsoft MVP, which means that I was awarded as a community leader or expert in the field of the topics that I'm speaking about right now, which is about cloud computing in Microsoft Azure. So I share a lot about this topic to developers and the community. And if I'm not working, I'm also enjoying different things, like, for example, spending time um, with my dog Lawrence. As you can see there, some gardening and other the fun stuff, and not just work. And here's my journey to cloud. So each of us has our own story and how we got started. And this is actually my story, which probably out of the topic, but I believe that stories that we share and stories that lead us to where we are or where I am right now plays a vital role in your journey as well as you embark your journey into learning about cloud computing, whatever career role or IT role that you're into right now, because the journey of the cloud is actually very special because it allows you uh, to take opportunities that you've never taken before in order you can learn something new and apply it in the job that you like or the job that you currently do. So this is my tech journey. So as you can see, it's a an overview or the timeline of my journey. So my journey started from the Philippines. I studied computer science. I was a scholar. I was very shy actually. I'm actually afraid to get on the crowd or stand speaking like this in front of the crowd. But a lot of things changed. Like for example, in 2004, instead of like after graduating computer science, instead of me working as a programmer or developer, I ended up being the breadwinner of the family because my mother died of breast cancer. Through life challenges, I had to go through different kinds of career or role instead of working as a developer after my comsci studies. But then, like in 2011, I moved to Sweden. I studied Swedish and I started learning more about technologies and getting back into software development, which allowed me, it gave me the opportunity to study more uh, like programming that was different from back then in the 90s, which was at that time I was studying I was learned my first programming language, which was Visual Basic. But in 2011, I decided to refresh my skills into cloud computing or software development, and I ended up working with .NET and cloud development. In 2015, I started my full-time job as a software developer, full stack developer, and IT consultant. And there also had my journey in this field. And then today um, I do a lot of things aside from what I do. So I'm a consultant, developer in different roles, working with DevOps, cloud computing, and also doing very active in the community as an MVP speaker and writer. So that is my journey to the cloud. And today I'm passionate about sharing about technologies and using my experience and story to inspire others in achieving their goals into their IT career as well. So, cloud computing, what is it? So, cloud computing, you hear it a lot today, especially in the era of AI, machine learning, ChatGPT, and all this co-pilot and pair program. I mean, robot programming that you can work with as a developer, or if you are in IT projects, you hear it a lot. Implementing AI in your projects, and ChatGPT as was open to the project to the public. But cloud computing is something that is trending today, and the reason why I chose this talk it's because it's relevant and good to know, especially those that haven't heard about it before. So the evolution of cloud actually started a long time ago. So it started from the 1960s, where mainframe computer was popular, and it all started in big machines. Like IBM was one of the big companies that made mainframe computing possible. And then aside from that, after the mainframe computer in the 1980s, the cluster computing um, was something that turned into something popular. And then the grid computing in the 90s until uh, the internet was born. And then cloud computing in 2007 has started to gain its popularity. So, of course, there are details of each of this, like computing, but this is kind of like the evolution of the cloud. And you can also check out the details of the history behind mainframe computing and cluster computing and grid computing and all its timeline to cloud computing in details later on. But this is an overview. And what is mainframe computing? So mainframe computing are actually using mainframe computers. They're very big. They are like powerful and very reliable, and they were used to be, or I think until now, mainframe computers are used for a large data, and it is designed to perform a large capacity of input-output operations. And typically back then in the 1960s, it was used by large organizations for processing a bunch of data and a lot of work and tasks to be done. So if you see in this image right now, you see this mainframe computing, the computers are attached to it so they can do their processing and batch together. And of course, to those that don't know, there were actually women in the mainframe computing generation. So, led by Adele Goldstein, I hope I pronounced the name correctly. So there were six women that were hired from the computer pool to set up and operate ENIAC. And ENIAC, if you don't know it, it's a very a known abbreviation for if you're studying computer science. So they are big and known. And these women, the name listed there, they were actually the women I known as the IBM women because they helped, or they were the first a set of mainframe computer programmers. So if you can see, it's not like the typical modern programmers that we have today, like myself. So right now we have the luxury of having a portable laptop or doing programming on our mobile phone or tablets. But at that time in the 1960s, when they had the mainframe computing, computers back then, these first mainframe programmers or women were actually into their big rooms, as you can see there right now, and doing all the logical. I'm not really sure how it works at that time, but as you can see, they were doing a lot of not just hand work, but a lot of physical work, moving things from one connection to another. So those are one of the histories, at least, that we women were there were women involved in the programming of these machines in the 1960s, and they are women that are worth remembering for, of course. So, if you're curious about the women in computing, which actually plays a vital role of the creation of cloud computing that we have today, you can check out this article on Wikipedia, and or if you search women in computing, you will see Lady Ada Lovelace, Grace Hopper, and all the IBM women and other known women in tech at that time that made a difference in the technology that we have today. So, going back to the evolution of cloud, so the next one is after the mainframe computing. So in the 1980s, this comes back this cluster computing. So cluster computing, like a cluster. So it's like tightly coupled computers. They work together. They have a single purpose, and they are connected to each other through a fast connection. So this is a cluster. So they are meant to cluster and they perform a common goal. And usually they're using like a switch, and they have a terminal in order to so they can perform their single task or single goal of working together like a cluster. And then the next one in the 1990s was a grid computing. So grid computing, by definition, it is a collection of computer resources situated in geographical locations or multiple independent computing cluster to act as a grid. And this is almost similar to actually cloud, some kind of networking setup that we have today. Like, for example, I mean, without digging deeper, cloud computing has this feature combination as well. So 2007, right after the internet came, believe in the 90s, it became very popular after the grid computing. I believe in the 90s or 2000, the internet came and became a very boom for the entire globe. Everyone were curious about what's in the internet, and we started to expand and did a lot of things like email or using the the search engine to search for doing research and web pages. HTML also started there. And then 2007 came cloud computing, which is considered fifth generation computing, which is actually can be based on service provisioning through virtualization. Virtualization, when we think about it, it's not actually the virtualization that we are used to right now, which is the virtual reality. That's actually the modern result of cloud computing, of course, and other technologies on the side. But what it really means here is that service provisioning through virtualization means that instead of having your applications or your infrastructure and your data on-prem, like the traditional infrastructure on the IT infrastructure, having physical data centers and people working on those infrastructure to maintain the systems, the performance, the data, and the security. The people, the this computing resources are actually hosted on the cloud. So this is the result of cloud computing, the possibility of virtual reality, which sometimes we see hologram on sci-fi movies. This is like our like visualization of that. We're not there yet, but it's one of the illustration of how cloud computing and its evolution can actually improve or evolve as time goes in the future. So basically, virtualization is on the cloud, to be specific, because you can actually virtualize something like an application on a virtual machine on-prem. But specifically, Virtualization in the cloud means that you're putting in your resources, compute resources like your hardware, your operating system for your machines, including virtual machines are in the cloud, are on the cloud, and those virtual machines are on the cloud, and the cloud itself are actually a network of virtual machines or logical containers in a higher level or bigger level. So the servers are also in the cloud as well as the storage. Speaking of storage, in the time of cloud or in cloud computing, I don't need to have those 3.5 floppy disks that I used to have a piles of them just to save a big file of video or media. I don't need to have a lot of those and spend money for a lot of those because the cloud storage or the storage capabilities of the cloud is actually limitless, which means that it's easy for you to upgrade your memory of data if necessary as the demand or the need for more storage increases. And that goes the same for application, operating system. You can always like spin it up, deploy it, create it, and then you can provision and manage it with flexibility, which is actually not easy to do if you have your IT infrastructure on-prem or the traditional way, like the good old days, in which, for example, the mainframe computing in the 1960s, I don't think it was easier for those IBM women or programmers to IBM like mainframe computer programmers to program that big machine to have an upgraded memory because at that time it was different then. It was the great thing, also great technology at that time. But because of that, technologies or invention and the hard work of those people, it actually created the opportunity for us to work on these modern technologies that we have today. That includes actually me delivering this session and you watching it virtually across the globe is wasn't something that we could do in the 1960s during the mainframe computer days. So virtualization and even cloud and communication have indeed helped us a lot. So the benefits of cloud, moving back to cloud computing. So the benefits of cloud, as I mentioned just a second ago or a minute ago about some of its benefits, is that cost optimization, speed, because it's faster. You got the capability to speed it up, and then global scale, which means that you can have your applications here locally in your area. For example, I'm based in Sweden. In Europe, I can also scale or expand my business or application hosted in the cloud or my organizations to other countries or global locations because of the geo replication or geo capabilities that most of the public cloud providers provides. And that was made possible because of virtualization, the internet, the networking that we have through these technologies. And of course, productivity. It means that productivity can mean different ways. You can be productive depending on how you're using these technologies. But for me, as a speaker, I'm being productive right now, for example, by delivering this session to you virtually using the cloud or the internet tools so that I can give value to you or I can also be productive without spending too much time on the travel or I'm just like delivering this using technologies and that's really amazing because um, it can be variation depending on what the use case, of course, but productivity can mean a lot even for IT professionals and developers that are working with IT related projects. So, no, productivity means that it helps, these technologies in the cloud help us save time and be more efficient without repeating the tasks that we have to do. And then reliability also means that When there's a calamity or something unexpected happens, cloud computing technologies also enables the capability to back up things when something happens. So those management features and infrastructure configuration is actually possible with the cloud. If you are to compare it with the traditional IT infrastructure, if, for example, a data center located in one specific location got burned down because of an accident, then the entire infrastructure is broken. I mean, it's gone. So it means that it's a big loss for an organization. However, if your infrastructures are on the cloud and and the public cloud provider is helping you and your organization to kind of like take care of it and manage it and back it up, then there's this assurance of reliability as well. But speaking of reliability, security, and all this configuration and benefits of the cloud, it's not just the cloud provider that's responsible for that. There's something that's called the shared responsibility model in different ways. So if you decide to use cloud computing to host your applications, then you have also the responsibility as the user or as an organization, depending on the type of cloud that you are using for your applications or infrastructure. And you will learn about that a bit by learning about the different models. So, in terms of cloud and learning, there's a lot of opportunities for you to learn. I mean, regardless of whatever career role that you have, when you're working with cloud technologies within IT, you do have a lot of opportunities to learn, not just specifically for programming or development, but even if you're not programming, you can actually develop technologies with low code, no code solutions. You can work within IT security or cloud security and work with AI technologies or machine learning technologies and still learning a lot of things in the type of job that you do. But of course, you have to choose the job that you are passionate about and use those technologies to improve your career and to improve your technical skills that you can further share with others. So there's actually a cloud computing study. This is a study by Foundry. So if you're curious about it, you can scan the QR code and then read more about it. But I just want to share it with you because this is the latest study, and there is actually a trend in relevance to learning opportunities and adopting cloud. There is actually a study that tells us that majority of the IT environments are actually moving and adopting cloud. So if you see today, we have about based on this number survey, 52% of those people that were asked, 52% of them are in the cloud, and then 48% on-prem. And it is expected, based on this survey, that in 18 months, as the from the release of this survey, is that 63% will be adopting cloud, and there will be less more IT organizations are going to be left in on-prem, or probably they're going to have the option of doing hybrid and different types of combination, which you will learn also soon. So in addition to that cloud computing studies, there was this question about what are what are the business objectives that are driving organization to invest in cloud. And one of the top five that you can see here to the left, it says that of course business continuity and being able to have to adapt if something happens during disaster recovery, and that is something that cloud provides. Replacing on-prem legacy applications, which I myself actually have have experienced myself in one of the projects that I had, and that actually led me write a book and share a lot about cloud computing and developing with it. And then, of course, it actually helps lower the total cost of ownership when you move from on-prem to cloud. And because cloud computing has always adopts or evolves in modern technologies, so your employees or the teams that you have working in your organization are actually employees are developing their productivity. And if you have your organization is are adopting this modern or evolving technologies, you also have this big chance of being competitive in the market, especially in the IT industry. So, based on this survey as well, in terms of budget in the next 12 months from this study, many IT organizations will devote their budget allocated to cloud computing, which is really good because you're probably a developer or an IT professional right now thinking about learning cloud computing and how you can get started a career with it. And that is actually a good thought because cloud computing is going to stay for a while in the coming decade. So, and companies are in need of people or different roles as a result of this cloud investment or adoption plan by many of the organizations across the world. So, the roles that are actually going to be in demand in terms of cloud computing is are roles that I actually do today. But if you're curious about what are the roles that are trending, like for example, cloud architect is a very good a role that are actually in demand because architects or cloud solution architects help organizations or teams in choosing the right solution for their use case based on the problem that they're trying to solve or applications or systems that they're trying to build on the cloud. And then cloud systems administrator or DevOps engineer, which I actually do as well in my consulting job. Cloud system engineers, it means developers, software engineers, that develop the applications with the cloud as well. So you are in the good start if you are in the process of getting into this careers. There are more, of course, the careers that relates to cloud computing, but these ones are the top five on this specific cloud computing survey. So going back to the cloud, so there are different types of clouds. I'm not talking about the clouds that we have on the weather clouds, like the cumulus clouds and the thin clouds or the cloudy clouds, but I'm talking about the cloud types that you can have if you're implementing cloud computing in your infrastructure. Speaking of infrastructure, I mean IT infrastructure. So there are different types. There's a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, which is a combination of public and private. And then there's also multi-clouds where you combine all the different cloud providers. And there's also what we call community cloud and government clouds, where the government and community is actually commonly used by community types of organizations, like for example, hospitals is one example of community, or nonprofit organization can be a community. The government cloud is special because, like, for example, U.S. government or other European countries can have their dedicated cloud for specific for their government that cannot go beyond that cannot be a public, which is a shared resource from for the public. And then the private one is actually common if you don't want to if you want to have a dedicated server or for your infrastructure. So that's for to protect data and to protect to have privacy. So examples of organizations that might adopt private cloud, like banking institutions, and hybrid. They can do combined hybrids. It depends on which infrastructure or type of applications they want to expose public and which ones they want to do private. So those combination can be combined, and multi-clouds are an option if you or your organizations want to prevent vendor lockdown. So cloud models. So the cloud models actually has different types. So the common one that you typically see is the infrastructure as a service. One example is virtual machines on the cloud, Azure virtual machines, for example. So basically, you have your infrastructure on a cloud provider hosted on the cloud. Instead of having it in the a traditional on-prem, you have it on the cloud. You can also choose to have a platform as a service, which means that you're getting a service from the cloud provider through a platform as a service version, which means you probably have to take care of the applications, the data, but then the infrastructure is taken care of the cloud provider. So, what's the difference between platform as a service and infrastructure as a service is that in the infrastructure as a service, like for example, virtual machines on the cloud, like Azure VMs, you are responsible to maintaining the systems for that virtual machines on the cloud and make sure that it's well maintained. But in the platform as a service, the infrastructure is being taken care of the cloud provider. You just have to worry about the platform part, which is the compute, the data, and the configuration of your applications hosted on the cloud infrastructure is taken care of the provider. And the software as a service is like the software itself provided as a service. One example of this in our current setup today is like, for example, Salesforce. We also have Microsoft 365 and other software as a service. So the software itself is being delivered as a service by the provider, and you pay monthly or subscription type of payment for these services. So one good example in truly understanding the different types of models and how the understanding PaaS infrastructure as service and SaaS is the pizza as a service example. So you can think of the different service that you grab from that you hire or you get from the cloud provider that you pay. You can think of it as a pizza as a service. Like, for example, the traditional one is IT infrastructure is like a made at home pizza. But then if you're doing infrastructure as a service, it's like you're going to take and you're going to bake your pizza. And then if you have platform as a service, your pizza is delivered. Uh, you manage your dining table, your soda, and then everything in your pizza, which can be your applications are already delivered. And then software as a service, you dined out. Everything is served to you. There's like Office 365, the Word document, PowerPoint, everything is ready for you. You pay for it per month. So to understand the concept example of pizza as a service illustration, it's actually created the idea was created by Albert Baron, and if you scan this QR code you will see his one of his old articles on LinkedIn about it. He used to work for, I believe, IBM. Hopefully I'm correct. But I think he did work for IBM at that time when he came up with this idea, and I did write about this specific example on my book as well. So, what are the different types of cloud providers that we have today? So, and why do they matter to know? Because if you're new in cloud computing, there are a lot of options available today. And sometimes it can be confusing not to know which is right or what options do you have at least. So the common public cloud providers that we have today, at least the one I know that's major and documented, are still more actually, are of course Microsoft Azure. There's the platform of Google, which is called GCP or Google Cloud. There's IBM Cloud for the IBM, and then for Oracle, they also have Oracle Cloud. AWS, Amazon Web Services, also have their own cloud, and Alibaba Cloud is the cloud that's very popular and common in Asia or China. So, but there's more actually, but these are the ones that I know that exist that are worth sharing for. I myself has been, I mean, I've tried Google Cloud, AWS a bit, but I myself has been focused in uh, deepening my expertise in one of the cloud providers, which is Microsoft Azure, because I work with Microsoft technologies in terms of developing applications. So I will be focusing on Azure. And what is Microsoft Azure? So Azure is the public cloud provider or platform for Microsoft. So Microsoft owns this platform, and they actually provide different collection of cloud services depending on the type of model or a type of service that you need per category. So they have services for infrastructure as a service. They have services for the platform as a service, which can be like applications or where you can host your web app. And then there's also database related services, as well as AI, machine learning, cognitive services, and integration services that you can implement with your applications, regardless if they are still hosted on-prem or you're trying to do a combination of public or private or multi-cloud kind of solutions. So these are the kind of example services that you can get in the cloud computing like Azure. So you see they have different services for security and management, compute, which is the virtual machines. There's the storage, the infrastructure services, and even the networking part. And then there's also services for data, integration, analytics, and Internet of Things, hybrid cloud, and also monitoring services, and also for protection and identity management as well. So if you are just getting started, you don't need actually this services usually comes by subscription, like Azure subscription is what you call it, and you can pay it as you go, or you can also have a special subscription like dev test environment or subscription for non-production workloads. And there's also a subscription that's good for production workloads. And if you're just new to this and you want to get started and try Azure, there are actually, you can sign up for an account. They have accounts free for students. And even if you create a normal account with a pay as you go, there are free services that you can already use to get started developing with Azure or a cloud development with this platform. So, for example, they have the app services that you see there. You have 10 app services that you can get for free, depending on the the type that you're creating, but app services are free, and then you can create Azure Functions, DevOps, and by the way, Active Directory has been recently named as Microsoft Intra ID this year. So if you see that name, please ignore that. That's actually changing to Microsoft Intra ID worldwide right now, but not officially changed the name in the documentation yet, but it has been renamed. So, other cloud concepts that you might need to check or worth learning about is the concept of serverless for event driven applications. And serverless is available both in Azure, AWS, and other cloud providers. And platform engineering is what we often hear for DevOps that associates with DevOps engineering, DevOps as well. DevSecOps, it's like applying security in DevOps. Infrastructure as code, like Ansible, Bicep, Terraform. And this is typically used for multi cloud. architecture and infrastructure to prevent a vendor lockdown. So this is also good. Automation of infrastructure, which means that you code the infrastructure and you can deploy to other cloud provider if you designed it to be multi-cloud, or you can also spin up your infrastructure if something happens. So it's just like you're not scared your infrastructure is gone because it's automated and it can be deleted and created, especially if you're trying to implement it in multiple environments or multiple instances. And then containerization, like Kubernetes for an Azure Kubernetes, and other tools. There's this AI, machine learning on different cloud providers, even in Azure. So cloud development, one of the things that you need to do is that programming skills is if important, especially if you're going to do advanced cloud development programming. But if you're just intended an IT pro that's intended to learn about like low code, no code solutions and just curious about working with non-programming intensive kind of services or skills, then you can also do that. Of course, cloud computing fundamentals is a good way to get started. Knowledge of cloud platform, which I hope that you've already learned in the past 40 minutes. If your organization is thinking about moving to the cloud, but you don't know where to go, then there's the cloud adoption tools available on Microsoft Azure and even cloud providers. So there's this cloud adoption framework for Microsoft Azure, and I think other cloud platform has that as well. And knowledge development. So always keep learning and find things to learn to improve your skills. One example of cloud development that we have is an architecture where you have your web application service here, an app service. This is an platform as a service in Azure. And on top of the app services, so you have the app service plan. And as a developer, you actually use Azure DevOps as your CI/CD pipeline here. And then you can build solution using your IDE tools like Visual Studio, and then you can deploy that built application into a web app, and then you save your data on an SQL server or a database. And this is another example of a cloud application with API management. So if you have a system with multiple services, you can actually use uh, this. This is an example of a setup. This is from the Azure Architecture Center, in which you can have your application platform and you have event hubs. These are services in Azure that handles events, and you can have your analytics platform that has this kind of architecture. And cloud networking is also something that you can do or you can configure or control on the cloud. So depending on what are your role or responsibilities, like if you work with networking or administration in the cloud, like network engineers, for example, usually works with this kind of things in terms of networking and setting up virtual machines and databases and making sure that the applications are actually protected and secured, and choosing the right way or set up so that the infrastructure or these resources or virtual machines where the applications are hosted or data are deployed are not exposed to the public, which actually can create the risk of security. So learn by doing. So this is one of the I used to teach programming with to kids, and I had this idea to let them get on front of the fellow classmates to share about their code and to share what they learned to others. So if you've learned something today and you know someone that could make use of this learning, feel free to share this session to others. Or if you have learned something yourself that's worth sharing for, feel free to do that. and just keep on learning. So virtual tour of Azure, I think what I can do is I can show you. Let me see. I can show you. Uh, let's see if I can. What I will do is I can show you my portal. Okay, I'm not actually logged in right now. So basically, what you can do is you can go to uh, so in order to access Azure, you would need to go to okay, I'm not logged in right now, so I think I won't be able to. Let me see. Wait, please wait. Let me just authenticate myself so I can show you my demo here. Let me see. So, let me share with you my okay, let's see. Demo. Let me share. Capture. Let me capture that for you. And let's see. So, okay, let's see. I hope that you could see it. Let me just show this one to you. So, that is my, this is a virtual tour of Azure portal. So if you have a subscription, you can go to portal.azure.com. However, if you don't have a subscription, you can actually go to Azure uh Azure.com, I believe. And then let me just show my let me just okay. So you can just like actually go to azure.microsoft.com. If you don't have an account, you can sign up for a free account. And here are the options. So you can have some common services, popular services free for 12 months. And if you are new, you can actually get $200 credit to get started on your first setup. So if you want to try things, these are the ones that I told you that are free. And then there's also, if you're a student, you can also learn how to get or start it for free. But this is the dashboard of Microsoft Azure. This is like the portal. If you're someone that like that are managing the Azure resources, so you have the option to view all the services here and create them. So they are categorized in different categories like AI, machine learning, compute, analytics, DevOps, if you want to create databases, identity, Internet of Things, networking, and other stuff. And if you're someone who is a developer as well, you can actually uh, create your automation or your resources using the Cloud Shell implemented here as well. So right now it's not showing that I have a subscription because I have my other real subscriptions in my other account. But for demo purposes, I'm just showing you how it looks uh, on Azure Portal, which is actually where you can host your applications on the cloud. You can manage it. You can manage it through the portal, or you can manage it programmatically or through automation. So, looking back here, let's go back to uh, so that was the quick virtual tour of Azure or Azure Portal. Next one is, let me see. Next one is learning resources. So keep learning. I would recommend you to scan this QR code and visit Microsoft Learn. There is an Azure fundamental course in there about learning the cloud concepts, especially if you're just new to it. Other cloud providers or cloud platform has their own fundamentals learning path as well. Most of them are actually free. So learning the basics of cloud computing, just like what you learned as well, is just as a beginning. There are more things to learn in each of the types or deployment models that I shared. So feel free to go through this training path specifically for Azure, since I shared about Azure. But if you're curious about other platform, there's actually a lot of resources online. And of course, if you're interested to learn more about Azure, I did write a book about it because of my cloud migration experience and lessons learned. So the book is literally for those that are just getting started in developing and with that. And this is both beginner friendly and intermediate type of book for Azure that will help you get started and learn what's new in that. If you're curious how you can get a complimentary access, so you can use that link or QR code. And this book is also available for you to order on Amazon if you want a printed copy that's actually releasing soon. All right. With that, I want to thank you for your time watching my session. I hope that you've learned something. And if you want to learn more about what I do, please scan the QR code to connect, ask questions, and give feedback. And follow me on LinkedIn. Jonah Anderson is my name. And on Twitter or X, I'm CJ Codere. And thank you so much for all of you that attended, and thank you for Women on Stage for having me and for giving me this T-shirt as well. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Bye.